Hi everyone, and welcome to APA session 4, and I will be showing you examples of citations both in text and in a reference list, and just giving a bare beginning talking about headings and subheadings. I should mention that I am using my own examples, and so we have here a group author, and you'll note that in the first citation in the text we put in the entire name and then abbreviation in brackets followed by the year. Now in the next in-text citations throughout the paper, you can simply cite the abbreviations and the year. Here you see an example of an index citation using a block quote. Always use block quotes if you have a quote that has 40 or more words. In this case, you do not surround your quote by parentheses. Rather, you would indent your entire quotation 1/2 inch. Now, if you happen to have a second paragraph in your quote, you would start that second paragraph on a new line and indent the first line an additional 1/2 inch. And then you would go back to what you see here in the example. Also note that in this example, the period does not come after the entire citation, rather it comes after the quote, and that is slightly different than other in-text citation examples you have seen and will see. Another thing to mention is that if you look up at the third line on toward the top, the author's names appear out of parentheses, and in that case you use the word and rather than the ampersand. They call it an ampersand symbol. I will show you an example of that on the next page, and I will show you another way that you could set this quote up, another option that you can use. Note that this is the second way that you could set this block quote up if you would like, putting the author's names toward the bottom, at the bottom, basically in the parentheses. And note that when they are in the parentheses, that you have you're using that ampersand symbol between their names. Here you see citations in a reference list. When you have a reference list, you always have a reference list, you begin on a new page and the word references is centered and bold. Now in the first example, you see a journal article. The author's names, last names are spelled out, and then their initials, if they have a second initial, that is added. So following that, we have the year of publication. Following that, we have the title of the article. And you'll note that after the first word, the words are in small case. Now, following that, we have the name of the journal. And in this case, that is American Journal of Preventive, and that is italicized, comma. Then we have the volume number, italicized, no space, parenthesis, volume number, parenthesis, comma, and then the page number. Now you'll note that we have a website that has the official DOI number, what they call the DOI for the article. It is registered officially under this DOI. It is really not acceptable as much to just use a website that you found it under, but rather to use the DOI number, because of the fact that a website address can change, but a DOI number will never change. The DOI address, it is the official address that the article is, the official number, and well, it's got letters in it as well. It is listed under this DOI. Now below that you see an example of a YouTube video, and it was published by MU Health. Following that, we do not have a date, so you put ND for no date, just as you see here. Following that, we have the title, and again, small caps after, well, there is a abbreviation rather than an actual spelled out word, but we use small case after that. Following that, it says video, and then in brackets, you put YouTube to be specific where the video came from. Following that, we have the website, and no period after that. I will show you a few other examples on the next slide. More examples to show you. The first is showing you an article that was published by CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Then we have the year, then the title listed, and following that, the website that it was from. The second example is a book. I am not going to try and pronounce the names, but we have 4 authors. Following that, the year, and following that, the name of the book. Following that, the edition. In this case, 3rd edition, in parentheses, then period, and the name of the publisher, which is Jones and Bartlett. And I also meant to mention that you'll note that we use what they call a hanging indent for every reference, that every citation that we put in the reference list. We cite every single author that we used in the paper, and as we go down through here at the end, you can highlight it and add a hanging indent. And in the next session, I will show you how to do that on your, I know how to do it on Word, so I can show you that. In this session, I want to briefly go over headings and subheadings. Now, in APA, they have different levels. For level 1 heading, those are top level or main sections of your paper, and I will give you an example of a mistake I made so that you don't make that same mistake. Some time ago, I put in introduction for my first heading, main heading. I put in the word introduction, but in APA you don't use that word. Your title on that first page, whatever it is the de facto level 1 heading. So for instance, if you were to put in APA style writing, and you use that as your top level heading, then below that, if you had a subsection of that top level, you would use level 2 heading, for instance, how to format the paper in APA, something like that, that is a subsection of your main section. So, and so on. Level 3 is a subsection of level 2, and so on. I will, in the next session, I will give you actual examples so you can see it. I know I'm a visual person. I have to see it rather than just hearing it explained. So that is what I will do in the next session. Just to conclude, we have talked about in-text citation examples. We've also looked at citations in a reference list, and we have started talking about headings. And if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to email me or ask me in class, either one. So either way, feel free to be in touch with me with any questions you have.